Shalom to you and welcome. In this video, we'll look at parallel lines and perpendicular lines and slope. So we have already used GeoGebra to draw parallel lines and perpendicular lines and explore their slope. And we have also used that visual proof that if two lines are perpendicular to the same line, then those two lines are parallel. So the connection between parallel lines and perpendicular lines. We have also discovered that the slope of perpendicular lines, the product is 1, and that slope of parallel lines are congruent. So we're going to go a little detail and then do calculations. So key ideas. Just abstractly, if we are given any 2 points on the line, point A, X and Y, and another point X1 and Y1, so as long as X does not equal X1, so it have to be 2 separate points. The slope of the line through the 2 points is going to be, we use M to represent slope, which is a variable. So y minus y1 over x minus x1. You have to make sure the y coordinate, the difference between the two y coordinates is on top, and the difference between the two x coordinates is at the bottom. So, okay, between the y coordinates. So the slope of a horizontal line is 0. So it's no horizontal line when line is flat, like this one. So the slope is 0. And then the slope of a vertical line is undefined. So these are some ways people have tried to represent to help us remember these keywords. So this is like a triangle. So the tree undefined slope is straight up. And then we read from left to right. So leading from left to right, if it is going up, it's positive slope. From left to right, it is coming down, it's negative slope. And it is flat, it is 0 slope. So that's tree slope. And this is a smiley face, Mr. Slope guy. Again, this is the mouth flat, no smile. And that's the nose, is undefined. And then the eye, wing, smiley, it sparkles, it's positive going up. And it's down, negative going down. So if that helps you, use it. Okay, when it is drawn, we see the line, positive slope, again going from left to right. We're going up. From left to right, it's coming down. That's negative, it's decreasing. It doesn't go up, it doesn't go down, just flat, like flat surface on the floor. It's 0 slope. Vertical lines undefined. And we can know how steep, because slope is how steep a line is. If it is closer to 0, which is closer to horizontal, the slope will be less, will be small. But as it gets steeper and steeper rising up, the slope will be increasing. Okay. So again, these two key ideas we got from GeoGebra, that parallel lines have the same slope, and that the product of the slopes of two perpendicular lines is -1. So these are the key ideas we're going to apply now to calculate slope. When we write them in formula form, M1, which is slope 1, close of the first line, is equal to the slope of the second line. So we can also use that idea, turn the sentence the other way. Use slope to identify parallel lines. So if their slope are the same, then we know they are parallel. Like looking at this equation now, the slope of this line is 2. The slope of this line is also 2. So that's how we can tell from their equation, without seeing the lines, that those two lines are going to be parallel. They have the different y-intercept at 3 and at 1, but their slope is the same. So they will never meet. Now, two non-vertical lines are perpendicular if and only if the product of their slope is 1. So if we take the slope of the first line times the slope of the second line equals -1. So we just use these formulas and then apply. So here, you see these two lines are perpendicular. When two lines are perpendicular, they form a 90-degree angle at the point where they intersect. So here you see the slope of the one of the line is -3/2 because it's coming down, is a negative slope. Then the other slope is 2/3. It's right up. So they are like opposite reciprocal, two things. Okay, instead of having, if you have -3/2, then this would be +3/2, and then you flip it, the reciprocal, it becomes +2/3. So that's an opposite reciprocal of each other, if that helps you to think of it that way. Okay, let's solve problem. So find the slope of a line parallel to each other. So this is one line. We have to find the slope of another line that is parallel to this. So what's this? How does this line look? What does it look like? So this is like in the coordinate plane. So this would be this is -5. So if we have like -1, -2, -3, -4, -5. So this will be a line that will pass through 5 like this, through -5 like this. So it is a horizontal line, and the slope of any horizontal line is 0. So the slope of this line is 0. Or rather, I'll just write it as m, which is the slope. The slope of m is the slope of m2 is going to be 0 too. Both two lines, the slope of this line is 0. The slope of line that is parallel to this line is going to be 0 too, because when two lines are parallel, their slope must be the same. So how about this? We look at this one. By the way, I'll write this. This is the slope of y, the line of y equals 5. So the line of x equals 3. So you're going to go to x line. So this is 1, this is 2, this is 3, this is 4, 5. Okay, so this is x, this is y, it's -x, -y. So this is when x equals 3. So we're going to, when x equals 3, it's like that line is going to pass through 3 like that. So this is the line of x equals 3. And so what does it look like? It is a vertical line. If it's a vertical line, slope is going to be undefined. So which means undefined. So which means it has no slope. Okay, so that's it. So when the slope is 0 and when there is no slope, when it is undefined. So this is once the y is solved for, you solve for y first. If after y is by itself on one side of the equation, any number that is multiplying the variable x is the slope. Again, not with the x, just the number. Like here, 3/5 is multiplying x. So 3/5 is going to be the slope. So the slope is 3/5. That's all. Okay, how about there? Y is by itself. Y is solved. The -4 times x plus 1. So we look at the number that is multiplying x. It is -4. So the slope is going to be -4. Okay, so now we talk about perpendicular line. The perpendicular line, it's helpful to write that formula. So if you have the slope of m1 times m2 equals -1. So because the slope of the two perpendicular lines is the product of them is equal to -1. So we look at this graph first of all. What is the slope here? y equals negative 5 over 3x. So there's no slope in y-intercept is 0, but negative 3 over 3, for negative 5 over 3 is multiplying x, is the coefficient. So that is our M1. So we take that number. So that's our M1. Substitute negative 5 over 3 times M2 equals negative 1. So now we are going to solve for this, solve for M2 by multiplying this by the reciprocal, which is negative 3 over 1. We multiply by negative 3 over 1. So M2, this will cross out and become, oh sorry, over 5, not over 1. Okay, so over 5, because you have to kind of flip it, multiply by the reciprocal. So that will make this to be 1. And here we have negative 1 times negative 3 equals, negative times negative is positive. So M2 is going to equal positive 3 over 5. Okay, and if we notice positive 3 over 5, if we notice, it is the reciprocal, it is the opposite reciprocal of negative 5 over 3, because the opposite of negative 5 over 3 is positive 5 over 3. And then the reciprocal of positive 5 over 3 is 3 over 5. So that's the slope. We use the slope of line 1 to find the slope of line 2. It's opposite reciprocal. So we do the same thing here. What's the slope of this line? I hope you find that negative 2 over 5 is the one that is multiplying x. So negative 2 over 5 is the slope. So like that. So we have, we're going to take the slope 1 times the slope 2 equals negative 1. That's the equation. So we're going to substitute. Okay, as M1 is negative 2 over 5 times M2 equals negative 1. So now we're going to solve for this. We're going to multiply this by the reciprocal, which is times negative 5 over 2. So we flip it. Whatever we do to one side of the equation, we do to the other. So negative 5 over 2. So this will cross out 5, 5, 2, 2. And negative times negative is positive. So we have M2 equals, so here negative times negative is positive, so 1 times 5 over 2 is 5 over 2. That's it. Again, we see we have opposite reciprocal of negative 2 over 5 is 5 over 2. Right, look at more. So here, what is the slope? Again, we always look for x, the number that is multiplying x once y is by itself. So that number is negative 4. So the slope M1. So we're going to have M1 times M2 equals negative 1. Again, that's the definition of perpendicular lines. And M1 is, yeah, negative 4 times M2 we are looking for was negative 1. Okay, so then we're going to, what's the reciprocal of? The reciprocal of negative 4 is 1 over 4. It's negative 1 over 4. So this multiplied by negative 1 over 4. So that will become, this will cross out and become 1. So we have the M2 equals the -1 times -1/4. Negative times negative is positive. It's positive 1/4. Again, that's our answer. Right, the last one here. So again, we look at this, y equals -x, although it looks like there's no number here, but this is -1x. This is 1x, so we can put 1 there to help us see there is a number there, plus 3. So the slope is -1. Okay, so we have the M1 times M2 equals -1. Again, that's the definition, and then our M1 is the -1 here, times our M2 we are looking for equals -1. So the reciprocal of -1 is -1, because 1/1 is still 1/1. So we just multiply both sides by -1/1 times -1/1. So this way cross out, and M2 is going to be, well, -1 times -1 is +1. So the slope of the perpendicular line, the other one is +1. So, okay, this should be simple. Hope you get it. Blessings.